Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media.
You're listening to Momentum, a show that helps men succeed in life. And as we delve into this week's topic, a reminder that some of the content may be of a sensitive nature. Now, here's your host, Des Kennedy.
Hi guys, 2 weeks ago we did the first part of an interview with a guy called Simon Groeschl, and he is an organisation called Restoring Authentic Men. And this is the second part of that interview. I hope you enjoy. But just one other thing before, just on that subject of what is at the core, there's another one, and that is the whole area of anxiety, depression, suicide, mental issues. And that stems from loneliness. It stems from, self-esteem. It's a lack of camaraderie. Even during the war, and I was too young to be part of the war, but, in the war, the camaraderie is what kept the men together and kept them in the sane mind. And they didn't think about, anxiety and depression in those days because they had all their mates around them.
Yeah.
One thing that's been lost in society, men have lost that ability to, even going to the pub. They used to go to the pub and sit around with their mates and have a beer, but now, with RBT and so forth, men don't do that so much. They drink at home or something or whatever.
Would you say social media is now, I'm not being negative on social media all the time, but there is definitely that pull of, in general, people do it. They're on their phones and they're not socialising face-to-face like we're doing. Is that a problem for guys too? Yeah, no, it's a huge issue. In fact, it's interesting. I was talking to Brett Ryan. I don't know if you know Brett Ryan. Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah, CEO of Focus on the Family. And we were talking about exactly that thing. And, simple things like you go out to a restaurant with your wife on a date night and both of you spend your time on your phone, answering Facebook or, have you seen this photograph or whatever that looks like.
So that's the modern date night. It's sad, isn't it? It's funny actually. Yeah. My wife and I, we went out for a date. It wasn't so much about our phones. It was just the whole idea of we're just talking about what's the next agenda on our boys' lists and breaking that down and just having relationship together. Yeah. Obviously as parents, it's, it's tricky, but yeah, that's another conversation altogether, Des. But yeah, again, I guess maybe one other question I want to ask, guys and how they relate to their other half, their wives, communication. That's a huge one, isn't it, as well? Guys struggle with that. I think we all struggle in general, but yeah, for guys, it is definitely another thing.
Yeah, it's huge. And, there's a couple of points to be made in there. One of them is that your wife, your partner is and should be your best friend. Your wife and your partner should be the person you go to with any issue you are facing and being able to have a safe and confidential conversation with your spouse. But also things like date nights, things like, spending quality time together, walking together in the morning, certainly reading scripture and praying together is key for a Christian environment. But the whole bonding of a husband and wife is okay. Being together and standing as one with the kids.
Yeah.
What you don't want is a husband having one view and the wife having the other view, and the kids are stuck in the middle.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not healthy. And so, traditional values of family is important. Eating a meal together is so important. Don't sit in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Turn that stupid thing off. You don't need to see the news because it's all bad news anyway. So just put on some music and sit around the table and talk. And one of my fondest things as a child was exactly that. I had two brothers and a sister, mum and dad, and every Sunday morning we'd sit around the breakfast table and we'd talk.
Yeah, there you go.
A couple of hours would talk. Yep. And a lot of it was nonsense and teasing each other. But, it created a bond that we've had all our lives.
Absolutely, yeah. I've found that as well with my boys. You take them off the screen, we're very intentional in our house. They can have their fun, but they need to actually get off. And the personality changes within a few minutes, And that's for myself as well, because you're interacting with people or in this case, with your own sons. And as a father, for myself, that's a big thing for me. My sons are in different, they got special needs. And if I can get 10 minutes out of my son talking about I don't know, whatever he wants to talk about, I really don't care because I'm actually having that time with him. And if it's about his video game topic or whatever, that's fine as well. We're actually just communicating.
Yeah, that's true. And, and with me, it's grandkids. So, having that conversation with grandkids and, talking about their world and what they're doing and their priorities, great to be able to sew into their lives. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Des, for you, what would you describe as an authentic man?
It's good, really good. Good question. And there's a whole pile of them, but one that immediately comes to mind is emotional intelligence. So an authentic man knows how to read his own emotions and knows how to read the emotions of others. So he's street smart. He, he doesn't shoot from the hip. He thinks clearly about what he's talking about. An authentic man has a vision and a purpose for his life. Proverbs 29:18 says, without a vision, the people will perish. And that's so key to men and their lives. So first one, emotional intelligence. Second, having a vision and a plan for your life. It could be short term. It could be, what am I going to do in the next week? But it should be, where's the next 3 years? Where's God taking us for the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever that looks like. Third one is honesty. So, it's so easy to be dishonest, but, if we're an authentic man, we're going to keep our word. We're going to be a man of our word, right? Next one would be a desire to give back. So, a lot of people talk about, a desire to give back to the world, to make the world a better place. And I think that's real from a society point of view, that an authentic man is somebody who has a desire to sow into the lives of other people. Next one is a strong value system and sticks to it. Now, there's all sorts of words in there. I mean, resolute, to be sincere, to love justice, to be moderate, to be clean, to be humble, to have a presence. Those are all key, and they all sit in that value system. And that value system is so much emphasized by the Bible.
Yeah.
Within Proverbs, all of those are in the Proverbs. So that's key. Determination and focus, I think, is key. When you set your mind to something, you're prepared to do it and focus on it and deliver.
It's a whole idea of keeping on the straight path and not veering off left to right, as the Bible says. Yeah.
And we all can be distracted. I get distracted all the time for all sorts of reasons, and some of them good, some not so good. So that's important. But obviously having a strong faith, having a belief in God and having God as part of your life is key to be an authentic man. And, the last one is one that we miss so often, and that is self-care.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're doing in your world, if you're not taking time to make sure you're okay, you're not going to be able to help other people. So self-care, and that may be going fishing, it may be a hobby, it could be whatever that looks like, and going for a walk, looking at sunset. I mean, I fly drones. That's my
there you go. Yeah, that's your self-care. Yeah.
That's my self-care. I go fly the drones. And so, those are the things that I would say, or for me, make an authentic man.
Yeah, that's a great list. I wasn't actually expecting a list of 10 or so, but that's really good though, because sometimes guys need that, I guess, that step by step, or not necessarily step by step, quite a few points to say, if I want to be that real person to myself, to my family, to my workplace, and to my future, I need to make avenues of that.
Hi, we're going to take a short break, and while we're having a break, why don't you have a look around our website, momentumaustralia.org, and guys, don't forget our care line, 1-800-000-MEN. If you need a safe and confidential conversation, that's the place to go. We'll be back shortly.
You're listening to Momentum, a show that helps men succeed in life. Find out more at momentumaustralia.org.
If this program has highlighted something you'd like prayer for, we'd love to pray for you. Call 1-800-PRAY-FOR-ME. That's 1-800-772-936. It's a free call. Or text 0401 132 888.
You're listening to Momentum, a show that helps men succeed in life. Find out more at momentumaustralia.org. Now, here's your host, Des Kennedy.
There's one thing I didn't mention, by the way, deliberately, in being an authentic man, and that is being super fit.
This is true.
Because it's irrelevant to being an authentic man. I'm not saying it's not useful. I'm not saying it doesn't help you live your life healthier and better, but it doesn't make you an authentic man. There's thousands and thousands of men who go to the gym every day who wouldn't have a clue how to live an authentic life.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, we obviously advocate health is important. Obviously, look after yourself. That's a very important thing, but it's not the core.
No, it's not the core. No, it's not. And all of us can eat silly things. Of
course we can.
There's a gelato shop in Port Macquarie called Blue Cow, and I'm there at least once a week.
You're hooked. Yeah. Toblerone's my big thing, and I've got to stay clear of that. Oh yeah, I'm a shocker. That's that Swedish chocolate just melts in my mouth, and yeah, I'm not talking about the small bars. I'm talking about the large ones.
Oh yeah, yeah, the ones you buy at the airport for a long flight.
Exactly right. Yeah, and that's my medication, unfortunately. Sometimes, yes. There you go. See, now we will touch a little bit now on your show, Momentum. Obviously, we've covered it. There's a plethora we have covered. You deal with various topics. Now we were talking about the idea of guys need to communicate better, etc. But quite often, guys are stuck, and we're not good at communicating. We're not good at dealing with our addictions, because this is obviously something we need to feed on to make ourselves feel better. We get our self-esteem, like we talked about, from our work, from stuff, from being busy. There is a point, and for guys, they need help, don't they, Des? And Momentum is a great organisation that does this. Tell the men out there what they can do if they're basically stuck and they want to give up. If life is too hard with their marriage, with work, with an addiction, and they don't know what to do, and they rather just give up and not reach out, what would you say to those guys?
First message is you are valuable. Even despite them, and the mind's an evil thing sometimes, and it can tell us that we have no worth. And in fact, the reason why men commit suicide at the rate that they do is they get to a point where they say that my world, which involves my kids or my wife or whatever, would be better off without me being in it. And that is a Satan lie, and it's a lie that destroys lives. You have a value. You are worth protecting, and you're worth looking after. And so my advice to men, if they're in that case, is a couple of things. If you get into the point where you're thinking of, doing something drastic, please reach out to Lifeline, first point. Beyond Blue, second. Momentum Caroline, 1-800-000-MEN. If you're, we're not equipped to deal with, people who are suicidal, but in terms of just having a voice, somebody to listen to who will, understand what you're going through, that's another option. But key for men is what we say every week in Momentum: find a group of men that you can belong to. Yeah. And ideally a Christian group of men is better, but any group of men where you can be open and honest about your world, and find one guy in that group that who will be your mentor, who will hold you accountable, who will get alongside you and walk with you in your journey. Because if you find yourself in a desperate situation, you'll find it so hard to find that person at that point because your mind is so distracted. Yeah. Whereas if you find that person now, before something happens in your world, one, you're going to find a great friend anyway, but two, you're going to find somebody who knows you well enough to walk with you through the tough times in your journey. Yeah. And third, and not by any means a third in terms of value, is your relationship with God. We're only here for a short time. I'm 72. I know I look 40, but I'm 72.
You look great, Des. Don't worry.
And so, I'm coming to the end of my life. I may have 10, 20 years. Who knows what, God's got in store. But there's a point going to come when I need to, I'm going to be answerable for my life. And we need to think about that and get that sorted. So your relationship with God, guys, can I encourage you? Everybody will tell you that your life is going to be so much, it's going to be boring. You can't do this. You can't do that. Forget that stuff. That's just a lie. I have a much better life as a Christian than I ever had. And I had lots of stuff that I ever had as a non-Christian.
Yeah. Being a Christian, obviously, and we're being real and raw about it. The Christian life isn't easy, but the alternative is we are still stuck in our mess, and changing that lifestyle around, relying on Jesus, that releases peace in our lives, doesn't it? And the joy that we don't get anywhere else.
Yeah, people talk about, Christianity being a crutch. People have faith because they need a crutch in their life. It's very opposite. It is, I call it the turbocharger for my life. Because, my life as a Christian is unbelievably good. Not perfect. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't do everything that's perfect. But, having a purpose, being able to sow, like today now, being able to sow into somebody's life and help them do life better. Even if it's only one person who listens to this call and says, hey, I'd love to explore this. Reach out to Simon and his group, reach out to Momentum. I'll give this a plug, momentumaustralia.org. Have a look at the website. We're on YouTube, Momentum for Men. We're on TikTok. Will you believe we're on TikTok? Unbelievable.
Well done, Des. Well done.
We're all these platforms. And so, there's lots of, reach out. There's nobody, if you reach out on an email to Momentum, we will respond. I commit to you that we will respond and try and help you on your journey. And, and it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your circumstance. It doesn't matter what you've done or what you haven't done. We're here.
Reach out. Yeah. I think the underlying message is saying there's so many resources out there in your ministry, Momentum. It gives so much. So it's a matter of, and I think the prayer is, as a men's ministry, both of us, our prayer is that guys will take that first step. And I think the first step is the hardest step, if you like.
And every decision you make in your life, that first step is, it was the fear of the unknown. It's, what are people going to think of me if I, expose my life a bit or whatever that looks like. But, on the website, we have over 200 shows now on all subjects, you name it, we've got it,
Yep.
Addictions, pornography, depression, suicide, anxiety, how to be a good husband, how to be a good dad, you name it, you will find it. And you can search on the website for particular subjects, or you can search by, the guest speaker that we would have. Yeah, lots of podcasts all on there, and Spotify and Apple and Amazon and all those other amazing platforms.
That is amazing, and there is no excuse. And this is our age, isn't it, Des? We're using, we talked about, obviously devices can be destructive, but use them as a positive. There's no reason why guys can't reach out. Well, I really appreciate your time, Des. Thank you. You've enlightened me, and it's great to have a fellow guy who really believes in men, who really believes there is that more potential out there than where they're currently at.
Delighted to be part of the show. And if you want to do more, all you have to do is reach out.
Absolutely, Des, yeah.
Happy to get involved and do stuff.
That would be really good. We definitely share the load with guys. And what's the motto? Guys, don't be an island. That was my motto, but maybe...
That's exactly right. Don't do life on your own.
Cheers, Des. Thank you.
That's my pleasure.
You've been listening to Momentum, a show that helps men succeed in life. For more information or to hear this week's show again, go to momentumaustralia.org. You can also access a whole range of resources to help you on your journey and to get in touch with the team at momentumaustralia.org.